So I've just arrived at the EFC gym where we're going to be interviewing Cairo Howarth from EFC Worldwide to see how he's grown his brand, EFC, to what it is today. Let's go take a look. Awesome. Welcome to CEOwise. I think I'm ready to be signed up.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Title shot, straight away.
Welterweight.
My boxers feel ready. I think we can fight.
Yeah. Right.
Just Skip Martin, Francois, let's go for tickets.
Straight for tickets.
Straight for tickets.
Well, bring it on, Dan. I'm waiting for you.
Okay. Thanks for joining us.
What's happening?
Awesome.
How was the training?
Training was great. It's harder work than you actually think.
Different. It's different. I guess
it is different.
All training is different. If you're used to, you cycle a lot.
Yeah.
If you're used to cycling a lot, then if I go cycle, I'll probably struggle.
Exactly.
But do a lot of boxing and vice versa. What I do like about the boxing training is that you're learning a skill at the end of it. So you're getting better.
So tell me, Cairo, how did you get into EFC? Where did the idea originate from?
So I've always trained in martial arts just for fun and fitness when I was smaller. And I was a big fan of the UFC, and we used to watch it online. We used to sit and, it wasn't ever on television in South Africa. There was no big events here, so we used to just follow the international mixed martial arts market. And myself and my brothers had a television production company background, and we had an events company. And essentially what EFC is, it's a combination of a live event experience and marketing for an event and a television show. So we were fortunate that we had all the resources available to us that most people don't.
Yeah.
And we really looked at it as a great business opportunity and said, well, mixed martial arts is exploding around the world. It's the fastest growing sport in the world. As with most things, Africa's the final frontier, for big international companies. So we realized the UFC aren't coming here anytime soon.
Yeah.
And there's at the time, 2 billion people in Africa, mostly the same time zone, mostly English speaking. What an opportunity what an opportunity to own a new sport that's so popular and that's going to be so big. And if it's so big around the rest of the world, why won't it be so big here?
Exactly. There are a lot of people doing it, putting on events for MMA, for mixed martial arts. And you got in a few years ago. How do you think you stood out, and why do you think, do you think it's because of your production background, that you made it a production and an entertainment event rather than an underground MMA event?
The simplest one would be we were willing to actually invest in it and build it up. We knew we were going to lose money. When we put our first event together and our first 10 events together, there was no way we could make money. It was going to lose us a lot of money. Whereas our feeling is everyone else was not willing to lose money on their shows. They were doing it smaller, renting a small little room, not spending anything, and trying to make 10, 20, 50 grand, 100 grand. Maybe they're making 100 grand a night, I don't know. But you're never going to grow it beyond that without investing in it. So we took a different view and we said, we want to build the most dynamic, most exciting, one of the biggest sports organizations on the continent. You're never going to do that by doing what these guys are doing. They're never going to grow. So we build it big and everything else will come. But that takes a lot of time and it took a lot of money and investment to get there in the first place. So I think that was the first fundamental mind shift that we had, different to the other guys that were operating at that time. And then in the end we had a vision for it, and we kept doing it and pushing until we got there.
We were with you back in the days from the start of EFC 1, and now we're on EFC 57. How has it grown? How has it changed from EFC 1 to EFC 57?
Vastly, I think. The sport itself was new essentially in Africa. There weren't any professional participants. It was all very amateur. There were no corporate sponsors. There was no broadcast support. There was no media covering it.
Yeah.
So we had to grow a whole new industry. Essentially is what we did. We had to educate everyone from fans to media to corporates about what we're doing. And we essentially had to build it and then everything else would come. You know, it wasn't there, and we had to, you know, come in from the bottom. We had to build an industry from the top down.
Yeah, for sure. And now, especially nowadays, content is king, and you guys have done a great job with getting the content out. And how have you used social media and your content to better EFC and to grow it?
Yeah, it's interesting that we're pretty much one of the only, if not the only, big sport in Africa that actually produces their own content in-house.
Exactly.
So everyone else, you know, if you're watching the big rugby or whatever it is, it's all produced by the TV network. So you know, the big TV networks will send their vans and their crew, and they'll film it and produce it. Whereas we've gone the complete opposite of that, and we'll produce everything ourselves. We want complete control, and that way we can guarantee what we're doing. We know the product, what we put out is going to be what we want.
Absolutely.
We know we can guarantee for everything. So our messaging gets across correctly. And then we, from a social media point of view and all of that, we really look at it and we go, we're a content producer. We want fans engaging with our content. We don't care where they engage with our content. We just want them engaging with it. So if a fan is on Facebook, then we'll talk to them on Facebook. If a fan is on Instagram, then we're going to go on Instagram. If a fan is watching on television, we'll give it to them on television. So we want to make our content as accessible to as many people as possible and give it to them wherever they are. So that's what we do.
And do you encourage your fighters to engage with social media?
Yeah, 100%. So we literally give cash bonuses monthly to the athletes who do it the best. You know, so we heavily incentivize them to do that. We understand that the bigger brand our athletes become, the better for us. You know, the more popular they are, the better for us and the better for our partners. So we're all in it together, and we all need to be getting the right messaging across and building the sport correctly.
And now you've just secured a TV rights from SABC Sport, which is an awesome achievement for you guys. Where do you think that's going to take EFC in Africa itself?
Last year on television in South Africa specifically, we had over 9 million people watching EFC on TV in South Africa last year. This year, we're going to shoot the lights out from that number.
Absolutely.
You know, last year we were on free-to-air television for a total of 20 hours the whole year. With 20 hours of TV time. This year we'll have over 200 hours on SABC.
Wow.
So it's over 10 times the free-to-air television broadcast. I'm just talking South Africa. We obviously have Kwesi Sports across Africa. We have numerous TV networks around the world. So that's just South Africa specifically that we're talking about. But certainly SABC is fantastic from building the sport and continuing the kind of growth that we've had.
And I see a lot of guys walking around with EFC apparel on. Now, you got EFC into Mr. Price Sport. Is that a sideline business, or have you got people dedicated to growing that side of things as well?
No, so we did a licensing agreement there. So we've got a license agreement with Musgrave Agencies, which is a big apparel company. They do Jeep Clothing, Salomon, Quicksilver, a whole bunch of different brands. And so for years, quite a few years, they've been our licensee for EFC Apparel, and then they then go and supply on to places like Mr. Price Sport or different retailers. We had, on top of that, we did a separate deal with Mr. Price Sport where they wanted to license directly from us equipment range, which we did with them as well. So all of that is just ancillary building on. It's really nice for us from building our brand. It's great that someone can walk around with a EFC t-shirt on
free advertising
and live our brand, which is fantastic.
Absolutely. Well, I wish you the best of luck.
Cool,
thanks for being on CEOwise.
Yeah, same to you.
And I look forward to the next event.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, it should be fun.